And I'm just sitting here thinking, bro, like, we really worried about Diddy, the bitch that died off of Power. Fucking a tropical storm. Little do y'all know, we finna have a food shortage. All the ports are finna go protest and they not going to work unless they get a raise. So it's like, nigga, y'all need to stack up on food. Y'all need to start praying. Y'all need to get close to God, because only person that's gonna save this. And I got my faith. I don't know about y'all. Shit low-key scary too, because it's like, that's literally where we get all of our goods from. Like, and we worried about Diddy and the bitch off of Power dying. And Tyreek.
All right, guys, so now's the time to start preparing. Of course, I'm not trying to fearmonger or scare anybody, but they're projecting that this sports strike is going to happen and that it's at least going to last 5 to 10 days. The last time a port strike like this happened was in the 1970s, and it lasted for 130 days. I don't know much about the port strike in the 1970s, but what I do know is that today our inflation and our economic situation is much worse than it was in the 1970s, and a shortage of goods could make that worse. From my understanding, over 50% of all imported goods comes from one of these East Coast ports, and a lot of them are going on strike. Things that could be affected: fuel, food, clothing, especially winter clothing, parts for vehicles themselves, and medication. But that's not it. The list goes on. This also affects the trucking industry as well as the railway industry. If they have nothing to ship, they can't ship anything. Now, this affects you because that is how our groceries get delivered to our stores. It's also how your Amazon orders make it to your house. And at the present moment, the president has said he is not stepping in, and he's going to let this strike carry itself out. And from my understanding, they want a 77% increase in their pay. I think it was from $35 to what they get paid out in the West Coast, which is like $56 an hour. And in this economy, and the fact that the union is no longer on speaking terms with this company, I'm not sure they're going to get that. At least until this strike starts affecting everybody. Because once everyone's really mad, then the companies are going to say, okay, let's raise their wages. This also comes at a pretty bad time because Hurricane Elena just made landfall, and apparently a lot of people are without power, and there's a lot of flooding all over. And the port strike is due to happen October 1st, in just a few days, which means that the emergency relief services could suck up a lot of the resources in the area, resources that may not get replenished. So what should you do? First, you need to stock up on food and water. Next, if you have any medications that you take regularly that you depend on, see if you can get another prescription. Now, if you don't take regular medications, but you want to have medications like antibiotics and prednisone on hand, you can click the link in my bio for Jace Medical. They have real doctors that will prescribe you medication that will be shipped to your house. So definitely check them out if you're interested. They're a great company. The third thing I'd stock up on that's right in line with medication is over-the-counter medications like Advil, flu relief, cold, cough, and things for your children like children's Tylenol and other children's medication. Also, if you are a new mother, start stocking up on baby formula right now. I can see if this goes any longer, you will be affected. In 2021 and 2022, when they had the formula shortage, we had a hard time in my family personally finding formula. We had to drive miles away to find formula, and when we found it, there was a purchasing limit. So if we wanted to have a stockpile, we had to drive to multiple Walmarts and pick up multiple cans. So save yourself the heartache. My wife didn't believe me when I said that we need to stock up on formula, and there was a lot of tears because of that. But we made it through it, and after we got through it, we stockpiled. So do it now. Same goes with diapers and wipes. I just go ahead and get that stuff now because you don't know how affected those things are going to be. Back in 2020, people stockpiled toilet paper. Which brings me into point number 4, have everything that you normally use on a daily basis because you have no idea what people are going to start stockpiling. Number 5, if you don't have a firearm or a means to defend yourself, you need to get one. Stock up on some ammunition, get some magazines, and get some training. If you live in a state with a waiting period, you have a few days before this starts. So go ahead and get one now. And of course, I'm always going to get somebody in my comment section who thinks I'm a racist because I'm going to bring up migrants now. But I have no problem with people immigrating to this country legally. I welcome them. However, a lot of these migrants that have come over illegally are committing crimes. A lot of them didn't come here with a lot of resources, so they're homeless. And they have now become a burden on our system. And they've resorted to the same tactics they used in their home country: robbing, stealing, breaking into cars and homes. So imagine, if you will, you live in a bigger city that has a larger migrant population, and they've already been wreaking havoc, Springfield, Ohio, on the population. Now throw in the fact that your Walmart is running out of food. Your pharmacy doesn't have the medications that you need, all because they're not coming in on ships. What do you think these people who were already committing crimes, breaking into houses, breaking into cars, are going to do? They're going to come after what you have. So you need a means to defend yourself. And at the end of the day, this could be absolutely nothing. It could last a couple days, maybe a week, and we could recover really easily. But what if we don't? I'm not going to watch my kid be hungry because there's no food on the shelf and I didn't do my due diligence and just stock back a couple cans of food. As parents, we're protectors of our children, and as men, we're protectors of our household. And part of being a man and part of being a parent is doing things that will set your family up for a successful future, even in hard times. So you can laugh, you can mock. I don't know if this is going to happen. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but I know that the last one lasted for 130 days. Back then, inflation wasn't nearly as bad as it is today. A lot more could be affected than it ever was back then. So get ready like this is the real thing. And as always, stay safe, stay prepared.
So I hope I'm wrong on this, but if you've been following TikTok and been hearing about like a port strike, you know, along the East Coast or the West Coast, or like the shipping ports are going to go on strike and then groceries are going to be unavailable. I come from a union background, but I'm just going to say something, man, and I hope I'm wrong. But if that happens, and like just like in the 70s when food rotted inside these ships and no one can get it out because it's a union-based job setting and they won't let anybody go in there and get the stuff anyway and deliver it because of contractual language and, contract updates or negotiations are not being made. This is not a day and age for you to try to pull that kind of card out. I think you're going to have a riot and people going up in there and the law taking over and doing like some kind of martial law and actually pushing the unions out the way by whatever legal force they have, both literally or figuratively. And then unions now are going to be a discussion on the chopping block because of how bad that makes it look from you guys holding goods from the entire world if that ever does happen, or the country, and we go into shit because of it. Not saying that I disagree with the negotiations and union contracts and getting what you deserve, but that's may backfire on you.
Do your research before you go buy up all the damn toilet paper. There is a union that is representing about 45,000 dock workers that is threatening to strike October the 1st. That is when the contract between the International Longshoremen's Association and the United States Maritime Alliance ends. This strike is literally over a $5 increase in pay, according to a really good friend of mine who just so happens to be one of those dock workers. Now, when he told me about it, I was like, oh, that's kind of bad, right? And he was like, it probably ain't gonna last that long, but we don't really know. So then I started doing some digging because I wouldn't be prepared. So then when you go to TikTok for that, you hear all over the place, get prepared because the economy is going to shut down. They have known about this strike for months. So several things have been put in place to make sure that we're okay, at least for a couple months. Major suppliers have increased their inventory because they knew they were going to have a hard time getting stuff in. As a business owner, if I knew 36 ports was going to get shut down, I would have prepared early too. They've increased the amount of workers that are over at East Coast ports so that when the stuff comes over here, they just gonna go on and reroute it over there because they know ain't nobody working at the Gulf or on the West Coast ports. Now, does all of that mean don't prepare? No. But it also means don't panic. But am I still gonna go to Sam's? Yep.
I hope you guys are all caught up on the P. Diddy situation, because here are 3 things you need to be worried about if you're an American. I'm going to go through this fast because this shit is scary. Did you know over 45,000 port workers are set to go on strike October 1st? And they're demanding a 32% increase in raise? Yes, 45,000 port workers, 7 out of 10 busiest ports in America are set to go on strike October 1st. Do you not know what that means? You thought COVID-19 prices was unreal? Wait till you get a load of this, buddy. I'm being so for real that it's so scary. And you're worried about Diddy. Number 2, 23andMe just had a data breach. Yes, 23andMe just had a data breach. So if you participated in finding out where your DNA was at, oh, well, hey, your information may have been released somewhere on the cyberweb. And third, but not last, this is a banger right here. David Letterman got raided. I didn't even go down the rabbit hole on what they found through the raid, but I figured to throw that in there. So there's the 3 things you need to be worried about. 45,000 port workers are going on strike set October 1st. Number 2, 23andMe, the company who does the DNA sampling to find out where your lineage starts and ends, they just had a data breach. And number 3, last but not least, David Letterman just got raided. You can go look all this stuff up. If you don't believe me, you can go look all this stuff up. Don't forget to follow. And stop worried about them baby oil. Shit. Because we about to need it ourselves the way this country about to fuck us as citizens. Just saying. Just saying. I'm going to end it on that. Dropping the mic. I have nothing else to say. Going about your day. It's a happy Thursday. TTG. Time to go.